Hello, Imaginers. It's Kyla coaching you to the life and career that you imagine for yourself. On today's episode, I want to continue to kick off the new year and talk about the last element of goal setting and a process that I created to help myself continue to become the person who achieves her goals. Last week, I talked about identity plans and the characteristics that you have to identify about that identity that you want to become in the future to align with the person who achieves their goals. And to become that person, we often have to identify and sometimes alter our belief systems. There are so many belief systems that we have running on autopilot that were given to us, most of them with the greatest of love and good intention, perhaps by a family member or a teacher, society. But there are several beliefs that may not serve us on the road to the career and life that we imagined. And so we want to identify what some of those beliefs are that might be standing in your way and create a plan to begin to change them. And on this episode, I'm going to teach you about a version of what I call a belief board. So you can see in the background, I have a belief board similar to a vision board. And I certainly use and support the use of vision boards as well. My vision board is a 3-year vision board, gives me a little bit more space to go after the goals that I've set, and then also have the beauty of the universe come alongside that journey, because so many things don't happen in exactly the way that we would have planned. But belief boards for me have made such a difference in identifying, again, beliefs that may not serve me, and even beliefs that I need to slightly alter on the way to becoming the person who achieves their goals. So step one in this process is to identify some things that might be standing in your way. And then what I did was to create a in progress section of my belief board and then a done section of my belief board. And what's so amazing is I have these belief goals where I can see them every day. And somewhere along the way, I realize that I believe them. And I will tell you that it depends on the belief in terms of how long this can take. Some of my beliefs I can evolve in a month, others take a year. Others take some time in between. So it really depends on the belief, and you will know when you believe it. But I encourage you to continuously be evaluating those beliefs that you've written down and decide, where you are sort of along the way. I also put a dot down the middle, line down the middle. If you feel like you're halfway to believing, then feel free to kind of move it along in the spectrum. Excuse me. And on the road to done, then you can start to see the progress that your brain has really made, which is so important in the acclimation process. You may have heard me talk about this before, but if our brains don't acclimate into the new belief system, the new goal that we've achieved, then it will continue to try and solve that, reach the goal. It truly doesn't understand that we've already reached it. So it is really important to create visual reminders of your goals, your belief goals, anything that you're working towards, so that your brain can actually see the progress and see when you are done. So I included a few of my belief board goals, and I'm going to read you a couple of those, but just wanted to walk you through a little bit more of the process for getting there. So if you watched some of my previous videos kicking off the new year, you know that I use a process called outcomes to create goals for both the end of my life and up to the next 3 months. And I use a work back plan to get there so that my higher brain stays turned on. My lower brain that says, you can't do that, who do you think you are, stays turned off. And so along the way to creating those outcomes and those goals, which is what I do with my clients and my coaching practice as well, we will start to identify what obstacles are in the way to achieving those goals. And oftentimes the obstacles that are in the way are actually belief systems. It could be, I don't believe that I can achieve that. I've never achieved that before. I don't know how. Belief systems can come in a lot of sneaky forms, and many of them seem helpful, right? If I don't know how to do something, then wouldn't it be helpful to think I need to learn how to do it? But on the road to your belief systems that will serve you, we want to make sure that we can perhaps use a previous belief and borrow that. I did a whole episode on borrowed beliefs, if you want to go back and listen to that. And then also, does the belief that we feel like we need to change, is it actually going to help us get to the goal? Because sometimes there's belief systems that simply aren't helpful in the process. And so we want to, again, identify what the belief systems might be as part of the obstacle, and then really decide, if I did believe that without any more information, any more knowledge, any more know-how, would that be what gets me to the goal? And I just want I want to encourage you to just continue to question your brain to get to what are the belief systems that will really get you to where you're going, what is standing in your way. And then anything that's an obstacle, we can turn into a strategy to get you there. And again, this is what I teach in my coaching practice to my clients. Because we often think that there's an obstacle in our way. It might be our intuition telling us to not go after it. And the lens I always use is, if your intuition is serving your long-term highest self, the person that you want to become, whoever that is, someone who has, for me, someone who has flexibility and freedom, someone who lives in the present moment, someone who continues to learn and grow. And so if my intuition is telling me things that are going to help me get to those goals, then it always serves me. But sometimes our intuition can actually be our fear, can actually be some of our limiting beliefs. So I always want my clients to question the whispers that they're hearing and identify whether they are whispers that will serve them or whispers that are simply getting in the way. So again, we want to identify what beliefs will help you get to the goals that you are creating, in, again, long-term or your short-term mile markers, as it were. So these are a couple of things that I have set as goals. Some of them, as you can see, are still in progress, and some of them are done. So I'm just going to pick one of the done beliefs. And this one says, I am making small, steady progress daily. And I didn't used to believe this. I used to believe that I needed to make massive progress, and that if I couldn't see substantial progress, that I wasn't really making progress. And I knew that that belief would serve me, because slow and steady does win the race. It is how I've accomplished so many goals in my recent past. I would say the Kyla from, starting about 5 years ago, when I started my own journey to create the life and career that I had imagined. But again, I used to believe that only substantial progress really counted. And now I know that small, steady progress is how we reach our goals. And so it is so exciting to know that I already believe this, and it continues to serve me. Now, as you can see, there's some belief goals for me that I'm still working on. And one of them is, if done is better than perfect, which it always is, then what can I observe about things that I'm not completing, and do it with love? And I included a little heart on my Post-it. So for me, there is some perfectionism that is something that I have worked on and continue to work on. I think part of it comes from some belief systems. Part of it comes from being a journalism major where perfect made a difference, right? I mean, facts are either true or false. There is no gray. And certainly things that we can prove, which I always consider facts something that we can prove in a court of law. So, but I didn't used to believe that done was better than perfect. I used to believe that I had to wait until things were perfect before that I could release them into the world. I could put myself out there. And now what I know is perfect, first of all, is just a construct. It is something we've made up in our head. And second of all, I know that the more authentic and vulnerable I am with my journey, the more my clients believe that they can be on the journey as well. I want to be an example of what is possible. And to do that, I have to be willing to share my journey. And so the done is better than perfect mantra is something that I have been working on, and that I'd say I'm, along the way to believing. But what I love about this belief system is if I believe done is better than perfect, which I do believe that, then if I'm not finishing something, what can I observe about that? What am I believing about that project that is not perfect yet? And then how can I do that with love and curiosity? And that is something that I'm continuing to build a habit for, which will turn into a beautiful neural pathway in the future. So just like I know how to brush my teeth, I will eventually be able to observe if I'm not finishing something with curiosity and love. So again, these are some of the beliefs that I am working on, that I have worked on. And again, for me, really understanding what the beliefs are that are obstacles in my way to the goals that I am creating, and the continuation of the life and career that I imagined has been such a game changer in moving me ahead. And so on the road to your life and career imagined, I hope that you will take some time this week to think about a goal that you have set or thinking about setting, and consider what belief is standing in your way potentially that makes it feel like you can't reach it. And maybe turn that into a belief board goal. I love using sticky notes. Well, one, I just love sticky notes, but two, they come in a million different colors, which I love. Visual appeal is very inspiring to me. But also I love that I can move them around. And sometimes I need them on my PC right in front of me. Other days I leave them on my belief board. But again, I can move them along depending on progress that I've made. And then again, really, it's so thrilling to see beliefs that I now believe that I didn't used to, and see that progress. And again, that is so vital for us to tell our brains that we've actually completed something, because it truly doesn't know that unless we have given it some kind of ideally physical representation of that. So check out my website at kylamartinconsulting.com. If you would like to take this work deeper, I would love to set up a free consult with you to talk about your beliefs, potentially which ones are obstacles on the road to the career and life that you imagine. In my practice, we do three things. We uncover the career and life that you imagined. We identify what's standing in your way, like belief systems, and then we create an action plan to go get them and use things like your ideal beliefs built into that plan. As always, I'm cheering you on to the life and career that you imagined. I hope that you will identify some beliefs this week and begin thinking about ways that you can start to move toward the beliefs that you want to believe to reach your goals. Take care, everyone.